sixth color of magic. We are here today for the top 25 most insanely ridiculous cards from Unhinged. Now that's who knows exactly how the title's going to end up. Maybe I said insane, maybe I said ridiculous. Either way, these are insanely ridiculous to varying degrees. And before we move on, I just want to address that thanks to the generosity of Dustin Little, now another one of our shelves is no longer bare. So let us dive right in with the first card, the Attenlay Igpay, the ridiculous Latin pig that demands that you speak in pig Latin. And if you don't speak in pig Latin, then you lose the pig. And if you want an example of what pig Latin is, just read the card. And that is how pig Latin works. It is a ridiculous concept. So that is definitely a ridiculous card. After that, we have Bosom Buddy. And the ability on this card is ridiculous. But for me, it's also ridiculous. Just the artwork is clearly referencing your Fight Club, basically, with him there between the bosoms of the giant elephant man. It's just Ed Norton and Meatloaf represented on a magic card, which is ridiculous and cool. After that, we have Look at Me, I'm R&D. This card is so much fun. The wording on it may be slightly confusing to people, but basically it's just pick a number anytime and pick two numbers. So you could pick the number 1 and the number 3, for example. And then the card would take the number 1 and replace every instance of the number 1 with a 3 instead. So any abilities that you had that said do 1 damage to a target would instead say deal 3 damage to a target. You might only be able to increase the number by up or down by 1. That may be what I'm misremembering here. But either way, just giving you an example of the number replacement concept. So Look at Me, I'm R&D allows you to kajigger numbers, which is a lot of fun and absolutely ridiculous. There's another white enchantment in Unhinged that is insane and ridiculous as well, and that is Staying Power. Man, this is so much fun. Not having effects end at the end of turn is so silly. Like, if you mix Unhinged into your other stuff, it gets out of control. First of all, just effects like giant growth effects, +3/+3, that last till end of turn, never go away. But then even crazier effects like Angel's Grace, you can't lose the game until the end of turn, and you can't, any damage that reduced you to less than 1 life doesn't this turn, kind of deal. That'll just last forever. So cast this, cast Angel's Grace, and go, as long as Staying Power is around, I've got some fucking staying power. That is awesome. Moving into the blue, we've got Ambiguity, a spell that involves both counter spells and creature counters. The wording is meant to be ambiguous and confusing, but it's actually a pretty simple card once you boil it down. But I'm not going to do that for you because it's more fun to let you struggle through it. So let's move on to Cheaty Face, pretty much everybody's favorite Unhinged card, or at least one of their favorite Unhinged cards. I mean, there are no other cards that will allow you to cheat Magic and reward you for it. And I've seen him cheated into play numerous times. Some in really blatant, obvious ways, and some in just ridiculous, off-the-wall ways. But either way, it's always fun to see a Cheaty Face show up and go, hey, where the fuck did that come from? It's like, too late, he's out! Oh, it's so good. Unhinged had a bunch of wonky little mini-games you would play with your opponent. Mouth to mouth is one of those. In this case, you have a breath holding competition. So basically, whoever can hold their breath longer wins. I think that these concepts are hilarious. Unhinged brought a lot of just wackiness, man. We played in an event with this stuff, like an official pre-release it was. Was it a pre-release or a release event? Regardless, they only did one event, so it doesn't matter. The Unhinged event was so much fun because of the insane number of things that were happening. So you've got mouth to mouth, then you've got my favorite card from Unhinged and my favorite card from the King Cube, and that's Richard Garfield, PhD. This dude lets you cast any spell as any other spell in the game that has the exact same casting cost. And depending on how much you remember of Magic, which for me is a fuck ton. I remember almost all the cards at this point. So I have a huge advantage when it comes to Richard Garfield. The only disadvantage I have is information overload, where all the options can overwhelm my mind. And I've literally played games where I've been staring at the cards in my hand thinking, what should I change these into? And then actually realized the cards I was holding would just win the game and I didn't even need to change them. So that's the worst part, I guess, about Richard Garfield, is decision paralysis. But how insanely ridiculous is it that you can turn any magic card that you have in your hand into any other card. And if you're playing just with it in Unhinged, it gives you reach all of a sudden outside of the Unhinged world for really crazy shenanigans. So it's just all around awesome. I mean, we went from a crazy let's hold our breath game to Richard Garfield, a memory game. There's all kinds of games inside a game here with Unhinged. You've got Booster Tutor, which is a fucking cool idea. I mean, it's obviously lopsided in how powerful it is. Like, crack a pack and you get to add anything. But how neat is that? I remember coming prepared to, like, I had a couple extra booster packs in my pocket just in case I got to play a Booster Tutor. Totally, such an insanely cool idea. How nutty is it in the, like, everything else in Magic that lets you reach outside of the game will reach into your sideboard or into your larger personal collection, depending on, you know, whether you're playing tournament play or the looser everything outside collection with like Ring of Maroof style cards. But Booster Tutor is literally like, you can only use this card if you have a fresh booster pack. How nutty is that? That's insane. Then there's Enter the Dungeon. This is a variation of Scheherazade. Scheherazade is that old school white card that would make you play a sub game of Magic and the loser would lose half their life in the main game. Well, not only does Enter the Dungeon require that you play a sub game, it requires that you play it under the table. So if you want to put your opponent on tilt, all you have to do is wear really, really short shorts, right? And then you play Enter the Dungeon. And before you do that, you make sure you've reached down and you've just pulled your ball sack all the way out of your shorts. Because it's not illegal to wear short shorts. And it's not illegal for your balls to fall out of those shorts. So you just pull them all the way out. And then you play Enter the Dungeon. And you just let your opponent get under the table first. So you just have to look at your balls for a few seconds at least before you come down and play that game of Magic. I mean, if it matters that much to you. I mean, we want to provide strategy as well. So anyways, Enter the Dungeon is such a fun concept. I actually had this card during the event and did end up getting under the table and playing. It's a hilarious idea. Luckily, nobody had their fucking balls out. All right. After that, we've got another sort of game. This one is eye to eye. And this is a staring match instead. So hilarious that you would just sit there. People are sitting at an event, and at different tables, you have people who are like holding their breath, and other people are just staring at each other, like refusing to blink. Like, I love it. I love adding all these aspects to a game that we're so used to playing. The novelty level, like all the mini games and stuff like that, to me are insane. Anything that moves outside of a regular game of Magic like that is insane and ridiculous. So, after that, we've got another card in the same vein. Farewell to Arms. You pick one of your opponent's arms. They have to keep it behind their backs at all time, and if they don't, they have to discard their entire hand. How amazing is that? I always wondered what would happen if your opponent only had one arm. Oh, that would be farewell to arm, I suppose. Oh, next up we have this insanely fun and ridiculous Curse of the Fire Penguin. What a baffling card this was at first. And even the actual text box where it explains at first, where it just says it consumes and confuses the enchanted creature. How incredible is that? And the artwork is bizarre. He's got those crazy, wow, look at me, look, I'm a fucking weird penguin. And look at my flippers. It's like, it's making him look so weak and weird, but at the same time, it actually makes things into really strong creatures. It is, hands down, one of the craziest uncards around. After that, we've got Frazzled Editor. All the changes and tweaks to this, explaining what a wordy, and having protection from cards that have too many words in their text box. Conceptually, this card is just cool, and it's ridiculous that there is a card with essentially protection from being too wordy. How nuts. Then we have, again, one of the absolute most insane unhinged cards of all. A creature that can attack the turn before it comes out. Rocket-powered Turbo Slug. This thing can attack before it comes out. How does that even work? And then you read it, and it's just like, oh, okay, put it out, and then I have to do this, or I lose the game. Holy crap. And then you've got it actually obliterating its own flavor text. It's so cool, just with how fast it's moving. Imagine a deck built solely out of those. You could just put 7 down on the first turn, attack for 21, and win the game. That'd be amazing. That's an awesome idea. Someone must have already done that. After that, yet another Aether Vortex. Ever wanted to have the top card of your deck in play as a permanent? What? That's Aether Vortex. It's so nutty. Like those other cards that say play with the top card revealed, you can do this or you gain this based on it. This one straight up, the top card of your deck is in play. I played with this in the cube and it's nuts. Oh, ever felt a bit squirrely? Have you ever wanted to be a squirrel? You have that option. Form of the squirrel. Rip off a form of the dragon. Instead of being a giant dragon flying around setting people on fire, now you're a tiny little chittering squirrel, and you get a 1/1 squirrel token, and you can't lose as long as you got that squirrel token, but if it dies, you're gone. You literally turn yourself into a squirrel and hope for the best. That's so ridiculous. Oh, yeah. My second favorite Unhinged card right here. Granny's Payback. Oh my god, this card is hilarious. Look at this. You got an old lady just bashing her way through this insane-looking barbarian grandmother with a sword and an oven mitt, and then they have the R&D flavor text comments down there saying, why is this old lady killing people with a sword? It's like, don't worry, we'll fix it in the flavor text. And then they didn't. They just put the conversation about how they would fix it in the flavor text down there. The card's amazing. And they did an alternate art version where they have Eunice Blackblade, who's Dakin Blackblade's grandmother, standing on a hill. Yeah! It's so cool. Oh man, it's so ridiculous. After that is, oh my god, I forgot to write down the whole name. That's hilarious. It's our market research. So, because I forgot to write down the whole name, let's just do it this way.
Our market research shows the players like really long card names, so we made this card to have the absolute longest card name ever, Elemental.
It's a really interesting card because it has so many words in its name, and there are cards like Word Mail and things like that that actually care about the number of names in the card, but just the fact that it goes spinning all the way around there and ends with the word Elemental is absolutely amazingly ridiculous. This card is obtuse, and I love it. After that is Stone Cold Basilisk. This card's hilarious because if players read it, then they end up stoned. But also, there's a line on it that says, stoned players can't block. And I have actually argued this in games. Because I am a rules lawyer at heart, always have been. I have argued against people who were stoned, in fact, that they could not block. Basically, because the effect of the Basilisk applies to you not only if you read the card, but also if you're high. Like if you're stoned, then you are a stoned player, and therefore the last part of this applies to you. I have successfully argued this before, and that is how we play the card. I love it. Oh my god, ass whooping. This card is amazing. It was so much fun in the actual event, because you can be, if multiple people are playing ungames, you can actually interfere with other people's games. As long as you can see the game from where you're sitting, you can smoke things from outside your own game. How amazing is that? You get to vindicate a permanent from outside the game you're playing in. How ridiculous. That's just nuts. Hey, what's going on in your game over there? Bang. Almost every time I saw it played, people would not play it to their own advantage because the lure of playing it on somebody else's game is too great. You have to muck about. Oh, how can I cause the most damage in this game? Bam! Oh, it's so hilarious. Then, Rare Be Gone. One of the few unhinged cards that are in the King Cube. This thing's great. Strip all the rares off the board. Strip all the rares out of people's hands. The concept is hilarious too. It's like, you got money cards? Not anymore. How ridiculous. Gimmicks! 1,000,000 mana casting cost sounds pretty ridiculous to me. But you know what's even more ridiculous? The ability to choose all the targets for everything. And how do you get Gimmicks out? I bet you're wondering, how do you pay 1,000,000 mana? Easy! Grab yourself a Mox Lotus. It taps for motherfucking infinite mana! How fucking ridiculous is that? This card's so much fun. And now that Mana Burn doesn't exist anymore, it's even better. Get yourself a Mox Lotus. Get yourself 100. It's so ridiculous. One more ridiculous card to talk about. The World Bottling Kit. Have you ever wanted to take an entire world and cram it into a bottle and put it on the shelf? So neat. It's a throwback to the old school cards like City in a Bottle, Apocalypse Chime, Golgothian Silex that would wipe out all the cards from a particular expansion. But this one basically just lets you smoke the expansion of your choice. So it's both ridiculous and actually really cool for things like the King Cube. So, my friends, that is all the ungoodness. We are out of time. That doesn't work, but we will soldier on. Who cares? It's unhinged. Doesn't need to make sense. I've been cursed by the fire penguin! All right. I think I was having a stroke there. So, see you for the next one. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'm dying. Maybe I'm turning into the fire penguin. But what I'm going to do is this Michael Jackson hat shit right here. Whoa!
Together we are the sixth color of magic. Good night.